Hello, it's me again. Welcome to the next video. In this video, we're going to look at scaling the tick by distance. It's going to be a very basic video in terms of the content that we're going to do with it. And then the next video, like the part 2 of this one, we'll move it into a function library and we'll make it more scalable as well. And this time, I'm actually going to build it from the ground up with everyone as well. So let's just get started. We're going to call this one tick by distance. Yep. And then let's make a new blueprint class. Call it tick by distance, and it's going to be a spline. So just to make it clear, I'm going to add underscore spline there as well. Here is our window. Okay, so what do we need? First of all, we need, well, we know it's going to be a spline. So let's add a spline. Okay. Cool. Now, we know that we're going to do something on tick. So let's add our event tick, and actually, let's just bring this spline in as well. Just get this ready for us. So with splines, we're not going to do anything complicated like make it a loop or anything like that. We're literally just going to get the closest position on the spline to us. That should be simple enough for this video. Okay, so we know we have our spline, and we're going to get the closest point on the spline to the player. So we want to say get player character, and we want to get world location. Okay. Okay, so now we have our world location, and we are going to need our spline, and we're going to say find location closest to world location. There we go. Make sure it's world, not local. And we are going to promote this to a variable. And let's call this closest spline. Closest location. And spline. That should do it for now. Yep. So just to confirm this actually works, we can draw debug sphere. And let's just see what happens. Okay, what have I done wrong there? I'm drawing a sphere on myself and not the closest location on spline. There we go. So now our debugging doing something to show us where the closest location on spline vector is. And something else you would have noticed before is when we stop playing, we get a validation error. So if we click here, it's failing to set this variable. And the likeliness of that is on begin play, our character hasn't been assigned yet. So it's not able to get the world location of this to then set this variable. So whenever you're using actors like this, you want to check if they're valid first. So now when we play, and exit out, we won't be getting that error anymore because this object is now valid. Okay, so we know that something works, which is good. What is next for us now then? So we have a debug location, but we don't necessarily have anything to move. So what we can do is we can add a sphere now, and we'll pretend that this is our game object. This is our audio object. And we want to set world location. Okay. And we are going to keep the debugging as well for now. And we want to set this location from there. So now when we play, you can see that we're moving the sphere as well. So that would be our audio component essentially. So yeah, the aim of this video then is to, as we are further away from this closest location on Spline, we don't need to update it as often, maybe. So you might want to always update it, but when we're at distance, we might want to slow this update down, because if this sound has a lot of spread on it, let's say it's a you know, like a river sound, and over here, you know, we don't necessarily need the accuracy of this sound to be exact in the world. We can afford to not place it exactly where it is, or update the location, I should say, when we're moving, if we're at distance. And then obviously the closer we are to it, the more accuracy we need to have to make sure that as we're running along the river or whatever this is, that the audio is being updated accurately. So that's the next step then. So what we can do is, before we determine the tick, we need to determine the distance. So we need to know the distance between the player. In this case, it's the player. This could be anything. It could be the camera, or it could be the player. But I want to use the player. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this a function, and we're going to say pure function player location. Okay. We're going to say player location. That's fine. So whenever we need this player location, which is also here, we can be sure that we only need to update this logic in one place. And we still need to check that the object is valid, because we're still using it here. So do not get rid of this. This needs to remain. Actually, that's what we're doing here. This is not what I mean to do. So we need to get the distance of this and this. So let's get the distance between our player location and our closest location on Spline. And we are going to promote this to a variable. And we're going to set it. Now let's call this distance to closest location. You could call it something else like just distance, and this is a little bit more clear of what the actual distance is, because you know the root of the spline could be here, right? So we don't want to say distance to spline. We want to say distance to the closest location on the spline, which is actually what we're asking here. Okay. So now that we have this distance, let's just make sure it does something. So let's do a draw debug string. And we want to draw this string at this position. And we want to say, what is our text? It's this. So now we can see our distance is being updated. That's good. Not very readable though, so let's just move that down a little bit. So what we can do to do that, very cheekily, we can just, let's just do this for now. So we're going to indent that. Like that. So now we've just pushed it down. That's fine. What you could do here as well is you could name this something like this is spline A or B. But let's just do that actually. Let's just let's get a reference to self and say that, and then yeah, let's do this. Just to, you know, you can do a bit better debugging that way. So now we know the name of the spline actor and also the distance to it. So your spline actor might be called like river or something. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now we have all the information that we need for now. Show debug. Let's say, do we want to show the debug? Yes, we do. And let's move this to a function now. Cool. That's fine. Because we know this works, we're happy with that. Okay, and is this true? No, we can do that here for now. Okay, great. So next up then is our tick. This is the aim of the video. So now we have everything that we need to get the information for ticks. So let's make a function tick by distance. Okay. And we want to run this, don't we? There we go. So the first thing we're going to say is, yeah, we did set this variable. That's good. We need to make sure this is set before we ask for it here. So distance to, yeah, here we go. So we want to say, is our distance less than, let's just say for now, 500. So if our distance is less than 500, we want to set our tick interval to this value. However, if we are not less than 500, then we want to set it to this value. And you can see where we're going with this. And just one more for good measure. We can say and then finally, if we are not less than 2000, if we are not less than 5,000 but greater than this, which is false, we can set it to 2 seconds. Okay. So if our distance to closest location is less than 500, we will set our tick interval to 0.016. If we are not less than 500, but we are still under less than 1,000, we will set it to 0.032. Okay. And you can see our sphere now is not following us accurately. So we know that this is working now. And then as we get closer, the rate that it moves is quicker. So what we have done now is something successful in that we are slowing the movement of this audio object over distance. Now you can see the debugging isn't very good. Like, this is bad. So what we can do is we can, rather than set static values like this, we can make a variable float, and we can say set tick interval, right? So let's just do this for now. And like I say, the next video, we will look at making this into a function library, and it's going to be better presented than this. But for now, this will do what we need it to do. And you'll see why I'm doing this in just a moment. So now, rather than set these intervals on this object here, we're setting variables, which then also set that. And the reason for that is in our debugging here, we can now set our duration by the tick interval, which means now our name and our distance value are updated. It's much more clear what's going on. Now, as we cross thresholds, you'll see that the debugging value kind of isn't 100% accurate. And that's because it's waiting for the next update. Like, it's still using the previous update values essentially. But that doesn't matter for the debugging because our object is still being moved correctly. It's just the debugging is not quite accurate. But in this case, that is okay, and that is acceptable. And lastly, to clean this up a little bit, this can now be a function, because I don't believe this is going to change. So now that we have proofed this out, we can afford to clean it up and make it more readable. So now every tick, we are setting the location, we're going to set our tick by distance, and we're going to debug. There we go. So yeah, to reiterate, next time we will clean this logic up and make it scalable, and we'll put this into a function library that we can call from other functions as well. And then anytime this logic changes, those other places will have the up-to-date changes as well.